made on Ridgeway Sports Podcast, episode 33. Hunter Keister.
Back with K-Mac on the track. Let's go.
Episode 33, our second edition of our two-a-week podcast we'll be doing from now on to cover both the NFL and college football seasons. We had our first game last night, Thursday night football, Bills, Rams. We have some shocking UFC news to cover, as well as our college pick'em for week 2 in this podcast.
NFL opened up Thursday, which was yesterday, with, I guess, a bit of an underwhelming game. Honestly, I just got to say, the Rams, they hung in there till about the fourth quarter. I mean, it was 17-10 heading in the fourth quarter. They were getting pretty much controlled. I mean, if the Bills don't have those 2 turnovers in the first half,
that game's probably broken wide open.
This game's over by the third quarter for sure, because they probably scored there, and we're looking at more towards 40 points. Josh Allen looked really good yesterday. I got to say, he looked really good. Throwing that ball, threw some really nice passes to Stephon Diggs, Gabriel Davis. Ran the ball a good amount. He's a good dual threat.
Made that Rams defense look like they were nothing. Carved them up all night long. Had a couple miscues, but even that, most of his bad passes weren't even his fault.
No.
So, I think Josh Allen proved that. Put the AFC on watch for the Bills this year. But for the Rams, I mean, Super Bowl hangover, I guess, right? Like, Stafford doesn't look the greatest. That offensive line surely didn't help him at all.
Yes.
And
7 sacks.
Yeah, 7 sacks given up. I mean, Von Miller had a career day at 37 years of age. No, I'm just kidding. But he's up there in age and still shows that he's going to be a force to be reckoned with this year. As I kind of thought he would just be a rotational guy, he proves that he's going to be an every down kind of guy for Buffalo still.
Yeah.
And for the Rams, like, they don't do much on defense. Ramsey gets toasted the entire game, giving up 9 receptions for 100
two touchdowns, and he allowed a perfect passer rating for throws thrown his way.
Wow.
And what's funny is this actually goes a little bit deeper. A couple years ago, Jalen Ramsey called him trash, and that draft pick was trash.
I did see that. I seen that on
Which
ESPN.
is funny.
They had like subtweeted it or something like that. But it's always, stuff like that is always cool to see, especially the underdog coming out. Jalen Ramsey, big bad Jalen Ramsey coming in talking trash, and you kind of get to quiet him down a little bit.
Yeah.
And Stephon Diggs, he was just on another level. Gabe Davis had a good game.
The Bills, they just played really good. They were 9 for 10 on third downs, which you're not going to lose a game getting every third down essentially. Yeah, they still have much of a running game, but they don't really need to when you can just sling it like that. And Josh Allen had some really good runs too. He doesn't go down easy either. He's
really hard to tackle.
6'5" and mobile. I mean, he stiff-armed that kid.
That was an insane play. Yes, that was
that little DB
insane.
stood no chance. I mean, he outsized it.
He just shrugged them off.
He scored in the red zone on Bobby Wagner. Just reached the ball across the pylon, and he looked real good yesterday. He could be MVP contender this year. I really believe he has a good chance.
Yeah, I think that if that offense stays healthy and everybody stays together, Josh Allen and that Bills offense could realistically contend for an AFC championship, if not a Super Bowl. That team is good. The defense is still good. Obviously, holding the Super Bowl champion offense to 10 points.
Yeah.
I mean, crazy.
Yeah.
McVay, I don't know. He had some questionable play calls, in my opinion. I wasn't a fan of his game calling last night, and I usually am. I'm a big fan of just him and his scheme and what he runs on offense. I like to watch it, but last night it just
really looked like you really think he lacked in that area.
Yeah, I think that he just as a play caller just messed up. Honestly, just some weird play calls in some weird spots, and they pay the price as they come out and get absolutely whacked.
Yeah, Stafford didn't look too good, but it was just a little bit of rustiness, I think, from both teams. A lot of turnovers. I mean, you're talking. Stafford had 3 picks, 1 tutty. Allen had 2 interceptions, and there were some fumbles. So there was like 7 turnovers in this game by both teams.
Just some sloppy first game.
For sure. I think the biggest question is just who's going to be the guy to step up besides Cooper Kupp and for the Rams offense.
Yeah, because teams are going to start triple teaming.
Kupp was Man.
He's still incredible. Picked off right where he left off.
Yeah, that touchdown he had in the first, I think it was the first half, was nasty in the corner. He got his toes in.
Right.
Severed through a nice pass.
He's insane. He's insane.
He could really step up and be that. I mean, just another stellar season probably.
Yeah.
But the Bills get a big Week 1 win for them. I was wrong. I didn't think the Rams would look like this. But offensive line just got beat up. And, where was Aaron Donald last night? He had a first quarter sack, and after that, didn't hear from him.
I think he started getting double teamed. But regardless, he did not do much. He was non-existent in this game.
Which you can do that. You can negate a pass rush if you throw the ball so quick with a quick release.
And Josh Allen was just getting the ball away at a really rapid pace, because there were a lot of times, even in the game they showed it, a lot of the plays where Aaron Donald would get there and Josh Allen would just get the ball away before. So I don't really think Aaron Donald had a bad game, but Josh Allen was just on point in every aspect of his game, and that's what it took for them to throttle the Rams.
Yeah, so big time win for the Bills, and more to be seen from them. Just a little touch-up I think we should mention, just because it came out today, about Lamar Jackson. They were unable to reach a contract extension. Lamar didn't have an agent. He just represented himself, and he's probably going to be a pending free agent unless he gets franchise tagged or they come to an agreement in the offseason.
Okay, getting back into it, Baltimore Ravens, Lamar Jackson, unable to reach a contract extension. You would almost think Baltimore would just give this man what he wants, and this almost kind of shows that they don't really have the faith in him that, you would think if they're, like, negotiating to the point that Lamar Jackson says no, right? Like, you got to think that they must be lowballing him or not giving him the offer he deserves. But he could also be coming in asking for Deshaun Watson type of money.
That's what he wants. I definitely believe that's what he wants.
So that
minimum.
Yeah, that could make them be like, we don't think you're that worth that type of money just yet. And if that were the case from the Ravens, then I would definitely be on the Ravens side. But it is hard to see them not come to a deal with their rookie superstar quarterback. Absolutely insane. What do you think about that as a Steelers fan, Kurt? What do you think of the potential about that, of them losing him?
I think it's a huge potential loss for them because he has won the MVP, and in Lamar's mind, he thinks he's right to that type of deal, considering what he's done in the league, and when you compare it to what Deshaun Watson's done, both really good quarterbacks, no doubt. But Lamar has won MVP, and he's brought them to the playoffs essentially every year he's been there. And you got to think, he is their offense.
Yeah.
Like, without him, the Ravens are no good.
Yeah.
And I guarantee if they lose him, Baltimore will not be relevant for the next 5 years.
Unless they hurry up and turn back around and get somebody else. But I think that a big thing for me is, like, those receivers are bad, and Lamar has always made them look good. Like, what could a regular quarterback in Baltimore do? So it's almost like, that's crazy to me that they just didn't make it.
Be a lot of turnover because their whole offense is literally dictated to his game.
Right.
The read option, the running plays. I mean, that's how they run the ball so good, just because defenses fear his ability to scramble so well. And for John Harbaugh to potentially transition to that would be a huge switch up. I mean, I get it though, but at the same time, if he's your guy, you don't even play around with this.
I think you just kind of give him the money.
You get it right into it if you want him to be there.
Yeah.
And the thing is, if he only has another great season, which he might have this year, he might want even more.
Yeah.
So wouldn't you rather sign him now while his market value might be less compared to what it might be next year, especially because every year the deals get bigger and bigger and bigger? I think it's a mistake on Baltimore's part. I think he's a top 10 quarterback, and I think they should sign him, but maybe they won't. And that would be another crazy transition considering Deshaun Watson was in the market last year. Now next year, potentially Lamar Jackson might be a free agent.
Right. Come on, New Orleans. We took a shot at Deshaun. Let's take a shot at Lamar, baby. That'd be insane.
Who knows?
Right. That would just be a frenzy of teams trying to get after him.
So, I definitely think that was something that needed to be touched on for sure, because that was some breaking news today. So let's move on to some UFC.
An interesting, crazy day leading up to the card tomorrow, with some shuffling that had to be redone because some medical issues and the missed weight cut by 8 pounds. Shocking. You don't ever see that if you're new to UFC or don't follow it as closely. 8 pounds overweight for a competitor is shocking. That you don't see that at all, and that's because the challenger in this fight, Kazmat Chimaev, he ends up being medically declared unable to continue cutting by the doctors. That's the new rule. With Dana White was kind of explaining it in his little briefing today, that they sent a doctor up to him, and the doctor determined that he was unable to compete or continue his cut. So they shuffle it around. Tony Ferguson hops into the main event spot versus Nate Diaz in his final UFC fight. Crazy. The second fight, Kazmat does secure a fight still in the co-main event. I wonder what weight they were fighting at. I didn't see that.
Maybe it's a catch weight. I'm not really seeing much on that yet.
It's got to be a catch weight.
I'm not sure. It's not really giving me a whole lot on that
in this article. They might not even really know yet.
But he's fighting Kevin Holland.
Yeah.
I'm not really sure who that is, to be honest.
He's all right. He's all right, I would say.
But yeah, big switch up. I was so ecstatic to see this. I still want to see Nate fight Chimaev, but I didn't really think he'd have a good chance, and I really like his odds in this Tony Ferguson fight, which was a fight that he's been wanting for years.
Yeah,
Nate's been wanting to fight him for a while.
They've been talking about it, and it's just crazy how it works.
I don't know why they didn't just do this from the start.
Right.
So, I think that's going to be a way better main event, and I think overall this card is going to just improve just from that move.
Yeah, I do think
really cool that they did this, to be honest.
I think that Diaz, he fights Chimaev, and he's kind of just a stepping stone, right? Chimaev wins, he gets the title shot, but here it's like Tony Ferguson. Like this fight actually has some meaning because they actually wanted to duke it out for years now, and it's cool that we're getting to see Nate
a way
Diaz.
Better main event.
Yeah, I think it'll be a lot closer now too, because I really thought that Chimaev was gonna steamroll Nate Diaz.
More than likely. I mean, let's be honest. More than likely, unless Nate would have pulled some kind of crazy fifth-round magic like he almost did against Leon Edwards, he wasn't going to win. I was hoping. I mean, anything can happen in a fight. I mean, that's more than obvious.
You saw that again with Leon beating Kamaru.
100%. All it takes is one slip-up. I mean, maybe Nate could have got him to submission, worn him out, but odds are, with the Diazes, you can just outpoint them. Which you can, just because the way their styles are. So with him fighting Ferguson, I got Nate winning this. I'm picking Nate to. I think he's going to win it. I think he's going to go right off in the sunset with the win, and now he's going to go and really promote his own brand. I think he has a fighting company now.
Really?
Something, not a whole company, but he's doing something like that.
That must be why he's been so adamant about leaving the UFC.
Yep.
But I do also take Diaz. I think it'll be a decision. I think it'll be a unanimous decision win for Diaz.
A 5-round good fight. This is a 5-round slugfest, I think.
Absolutely.
So fireworks. I just want to see a good fight. A good fight for sure. And I think, they always bring out the best.
Yeah.
The Diazes. So big time tomorrow. That will be tomorrow night, after some good old college football. So let's get into that then.
Oh yeah, let's get it. Week 2, after a really, it was a good week 1. Some of the matchups didn't live up as, Oregon gets stomped out by Georgia. Western Michigan kind of hangs around with Michigan State. Clemson fumbles around with Georgia Tech a little bit till the end. I mean, there were some better games than were advertised.
Most anticipated, right? But I think week 1 was really good. Yeah. I liked it.
Yep.
I liked all the games.
A better week 1 than what I usually feel like we see as well.
100%.
Week 2 kind of has that feel. There's a couple nice matchups, but it kind of had that feel of the just getting college football started.
Most definitely. Just looking at the top 25 matchups, I think week 1 looked better. But hey, maybe that'll be just better outcomes tomorrow and better games. So, time will tell, but let's hop into it.
Okay, getting into week 2 Pick'em college football. Starting off with a pretty decent matchup. Alabama, Texas. I like Texas. Quinn Ewers is alright. He's no Bryce Young. And Texas is no Alabama. So I will take Alabama in this one. But Texas continues to improve. And this could end up being a matchup, especially with Texas joining the SEC. This could be a good matchup in years coming. But I do think that Alabama gets the job done in this one.
I'm going to do picks, but for some of them, I'll just go with like what the spread is being. So I'm definitely picking Bama. It says they're favored by 20, and I definitely think they'll win by 20.
Arkansas State, Ohio State. This is just a steamroll warm-up for that Ohio State offense as they look to improve from a lackluster
Week 1 showing.
If you want to, I think even Ohio State fans will agree with me. I don't think I'm being biased in saying that at all.
They have to agree.
I think that offense, with how
this is their
hyped
game.
Up it is,
this is their game.
With how hyped up it is, I believe that they should have been a lot better. And 21 points is not going to cut it. I get Notre Dame's defense was a lot better than everybody thought, but still 21 points. And if Notre Dame's defense is worth if Notre Dame's offense is worth anything, Ohio State loses that game. Point blank, period. And that's pretty crazy to say. So let's see how Ohio State rebound on offense. The defense did look pretty well, though. I did like how they played. Notre Dame's offense, like I said, was not very good, but still give credit to the Ohio State defense because they looked a lot better than they did a year ago.
Yeah, I'm taking Ohio State, and they'll cover 44.5.
Miami, Southern Miss. Just a tune-up ACC matchup. I'm taking the U easily here.
The U. These games are also at noon. So FYI. South Carolina going to Arkansas. Number 16 Arkansas. Favored by 9. Arkansas will win.
Yeah. Spencer Rattler. I'm taking the upset. I'm taking South Carolina in an upset over 16 Arkansas.
Wow, getting spicy.
I like it. Wake Forest, Vanderbilt. 2-0 Vanderbilt. What's going on over there? What's going on for Vanderbilt? They got a good quarterback. Oh, he's 6 touchdowns already in 2 games. All right, I mean that's pretty good. And he got 247 rushing yards and 4 touchdowns.
You picked an upset, so I'm picking an upset. I'm taking Vanderbilt
to keep
undefeated.
Yeah,
I'm going Vanderbilt.
I like Vanderbilt here too.
Close game.
Right as that quarterback, 391 yards passing, 6 touchdowns, 247 yards rushing, 4 touchdowns. He just looks really good to me. So I like Vanderbilt in this game.
I like Vanderbilt to win, and then they will be ranked.
NC State, Charleston Southern, tune-up, regular, NC State win for me.
NC State.
Pac-12, Southern Utah. I haven't even heard of Southern Utah. And I've known a lot of college football teams.
Is this supposed to be a rivalry game?
I hope not. Southern Utah should win this by a million.
I'll take Utah, but they did lose last week to Florida in a close ball game, so they did drop some spots, but we'll still take Utah in a win.
Marshall, Notre Dame, as Notre Dame looks to rebound off of their loss versus Ohio State. I do believe they do that. I do believe they take this game against Marshall handedly and improve to 1-1.
I'll take Notre Dame to get the win and bounce back.
What did that say? Furman
versus
Clemson. Clemson didn't look the best against Georgia Tech, but they can't lose to Furman. So, gotta go Clemson.
Clemson with the win against Furman for me.
Yeah. Texas A&M, Appalachian State in Texas A&M. Nail biter, right?
I don't like bringing up that name.
Down to the wire. Yeah, Appalachian State just hurts me. Hurts my feelings. I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to hear about it. Don't talk to me. Don't at me. Don't even talk about it. Texas A&M is going to get our revenge and beat Appalachian State by 50.
Yeah, I'll take Texas A&M to win, and they're definitely going to cover 19.
Tennessee, Pittsburgh. Tennessee is ranked now. They dropped Oregon from 11 to out. And I said this off podcast. I truly believe they made Tennessee ranked just to hype this matchup up better for the both of them. You know, I like Slovis. They beat JT Daniels and West Virginia in week 1 in a great game. And I think Slovis and Pitt continues that and beats Tennessee.
Yeah, Tennessee ranked 24 going to Pittsburgh. Tennessee is favored by 6. I'm taking Pitt here in probably a close ball game. I'll give them like a 3-point win. I think they'll stay undefeated. So Pittsburgh with a win.
Wisconsin, Washington State. In recent memory, Washington State hasn't really done nothing too spectacular. And I do like Allen for Wisconsin. So I do think Wisconsin pulled out the win against Washington State.
Wisconsin will remain undefeated and win against Washington State.
Nice. Georgia, Stanford. Easy Georgia win. Just nothing to know about there.
Georgia is Georgia.
Yeah.
Georgia win.
Yep. Michigan State, Akron. Another one. Easy. Michigan State win.
Most definitely. Maybe a game we'll be keeping an eye out on at a sports bar, restaurant, or something tomorrow until the game. We'll see. But Michigan State with a win against Akron.
Texas Tech, Houston. Looking at that matchup, and just because I want to be different, I'm actually going to take Texas Tech in the upset over ranked Houston here.
Yeah, believe it or not, Texas Tech is actually favored here to win. Houston's ranked.
Oh, wow.
I'm going to go with Texas Tech here, too. Yeah, I'm taking Texas Tech.
Kent State, Oklahoma. Tune-up game for Gabriel and Gray for Oklahoma, and they will steamroll Kent State.
Yeah, Oklahoma, 7 o'clock game, favored by 33. They come out with a win.
Anthony Richardson, Florida. Will Lewis, Kentucky. 7 o'clock ESPN. SEC early season matchup in Florida. Great matchup. I love it. This is easily the best game of the week. For this game, though, man, Anthony Richardson is hard to bet against, but Will Lewis has really come into his own at Kentucky, and I think this is going to be a shootout matchup. And if Michigan wasn't playing at the same time, I would definitely have this game on. I'm going to pick Anthony Richardson in Florida to win this game.
Yeah, this definitely looks like the most compelling matchup of the whole Saturday. Florida was unranked last week, which they definitely shouldn't have been. I'll say that much. They pulled off the win against Utah, and they come back home to play Kentucky at night. You know, this will be a close game. Florida's favored by 6. I'm going to take Kentucky with a 3-point win. I'm going to say Kentucky. Going bold.
Wow, Kentucky.
Yeah.
I like it. That's a good matchup, and
I feel like it could go either way.
yeah, that's going to be a really close.
Good game.
Probably a touchdown separates them at most, I would say. This should be a really good game. Ole Miss and Central Arkansas. Wow.
Jeez.
Ole Miss. This is you can say whatever you want about Michigan's schedule, but Central Arkansas. We don't play Central Arkansas. We don't play Southern. Utah. Just okay, whatever. Little rant over about the scheduling. Ole Miss, Central Arkansas. Ole Miss by 1 million.
Ole Miss with a win.
USC, Stanford. Back in the day when Stanford was really good, this would have been a really good matchup. Nowadays, USC is stacked. That offense is great. Lincoln Riley is going to have them probably steamroll everybody in the Pac-12, and I like them by a lot in this game.
Yeah, USC on the road, 7:30 night game. They're favored by 8.5. I'm going to say they more than cover that. I'm going to say they win by at least 14, maybe even 20. USC with the win. Next game, Arizona State going to Oklahoma State. Yeah, Oklahoma State is coming out with a win.
I don't think Arizona State gets it done. I wonder if Herb is still there. Herm Edwards, the old ESPN guy.
Oh, Herm Edwards?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember him.
Wonder. Oklahoma State, though, I do think.
He was the you play to win the game.
Yeah.
He was the Jets coach. Yep.
But I do think Oklahoma State gets the win in this one. Michigan, Hawaii will be there. Week 2 matchup. J.J. McCarthy's first start. We'll have a lot more to say about this, but for now it's just Michigan, hopefully by like 60 points. I just hope for no injuries. I hope for a great night, and I hope for to see JJ in the future. You know, some of these younger guys. Hopefully, I want to see a lot of these younger guys play and get some reps in. And I like Michigan by a landslide.
Business is business. Michigan is Michigan. We will win tomorrow, no doubt in my mind. 40 plus. Michigan win.
Another good matchup. 10-15 kickoff.
Woo.
That is rough. That's in Utah, so I guess it is a 7 kickoff for them. But hey, that'll give us some late night football to watch too while we're watching UFC. Nice. Baylor BYU is a decently intriguing matchup.
Whoa. Okay.
I still do think Baylor gets the win.
Wow.
Against BYU.
Baylor's on the road, night game, going to BYU. BYU is favored by 2.5. Ooh, yeah. I'm not picking BYU. Baylor's going to come out with a win. Close game. You know what? No, I'm not going to say close game. I'm going to say Baylor steamrolls them. I like Baylor to win big here. And I think that's the final game for week 2.
Yes, it is. I'm going to just go through and see if there's any other games worth talking about. Okay, bringing it back. That'll be it for our pick'em portion of week 2 of this college football season. But to end it off, you know we do have to touch a little bit on the extra special team, the Michigan Wolverines. We're gonna touch on just J.J. McCarthy, his first start in Ann Arbor, the night game versus Hawaii. We will be in attendance. So, Kurt, what are your hopes? What are your thoughts for the game, and what do you think goes down?
In previewing tomorrow night's game, it's time to unleash J.J. McCarthy. It's time to turn the keys into that Ferrari.
I do want to see him get a chance. I want to see him get a chance.
It's time to turn the keys into Ferrari. Let's go. It's time to finally let the secret out. The kid can ball out. It's time to sling the ball. Let's open the playbook a little bit. Let's do what we do. We can run the ball. Let's see Corum do what we did last week. Let's see some of Donovan Edwards in there. And let's actually see us push the ball down the field a little bit tomorrow.
Yeah.
And I think JJ will rectify the QB1 status tomorrow night. And let's see the defense replicate last week.
Yeah. I think they played very well against a weaker opponent. Nonetheless, they played great. Didn't miss a beat. And I liked the defense. I liked how the defense looked. Not much different than Mike McDonald. And that's perfect to me because that defense was great. So I'll take it over. I'll take it wherever I can get it. If Jesse Mentor's got the code too, I'll take it. Whoever's got the code, just keep it at Michigan. Just keep it at Michigan.
Keep it a secret.
If you gotta go from Michigan to Baltimore back, let's go. Let's just run a pipeline.
Let's keep the recipe inside.
Let's just
borderline.
Let's just run a pipeline.
I am curious to see tomorrow if by halftime, if JJ actually is pulled, or will Jim give him the whole game? I want to be opposed to that if the game's out of reach, because I don't want to see any injuries.
Right.
So I'm not opposed to that, but I definitely think JJ deserves first half, maybe even up to the third quarter, halfway. Give him a good amount to
really
work
solidify
with.
himself as a QB1.
And then if that scoreboard's out of reach, let's do you bring in Cage? Who do you want to see a little more of tomorrow night?
If I'm there, right, and we're up 40 points in the third quarter, I think JJ deserves to get the whole first half and to the middle of the third. If we're up by 40 in the middle of the third, he gets pulled. And at that point, I think you just put in third, fourth strings and just get out of the game. I think that you don't risk putting Cade in. There's no reason, because you need him to be a strong, presumably backup at that point, especially going into week 3. Who knows? Harbaugh can make a decision and still start Cade, so I can't really say that because I don't entirely trust Harbaugh with this decision because it ultimately is his. So, at the end of the day, I expect to see JJ in the first half sling the ball. I do want to see Harbaugh really give JJ the full playbook. I want him to have the full playbook at his disposal because I want to see the good. I want to see the mistakes he could potentially make. I want to see it all.
We need to see it now before the games get big.
Exactly. We need to see it now.
Not just Big Ten, like, get serious.
Yeah. Because we have almost 5 weeks, whatever you want to call Maryland, to get ready for the real season. And by then, we need to be sharp. We need to be ready because the Big Ten is just no slouch anymore, and it's continuously going to be improving, especially with teams like USC and UCLA and possibly even more waiting in the wings. So, going to be a good weekend of football. Yeah, I want to see that defense look the same, just continue that dominance, and for the offense, just do everything like they did last week. I mean, just kind of touch up on the quarterback play with some of the misses. I think JJ will correct that, and if we can keep drives going, I think this game could get out of hand and out of reach pretty early, and should make for a great night in Ann Arbor. Alrighty, we are back after a crazy Saturday of sports across a couple of different ones, from UFC to a insane week 2. The matchups this week were incredible with some shocking top 10 upsets, and the number one seed, the number one team in the country, almost falling as well. As we will touch on week 2 as a whole. We will touch on the Michigan Wolverines, how they fared against Hawaii today, and who they named QB1 going into week 3 versus UConn. And then to end the night, we have to talk about Nate Diaz's final UFC fight under his contract. Who knows if we'll see him again, but we'll talk about how he fared in his last fight. So, Kurt, I need your most shocking thing of the day and why.
The most shocking thing to me, man, where do we start? So many. I think to me the biggest shock, I would go with Marshall and Notre Dame. Notre Dame had a good showing week 1. Their quarterback didn't play too good, but their defense played good. Got to Ohio State, but for them to be a quote-unquote top 5 team, lose at home to Marshall 26-21 to me is the biggest shock. There's a couple you could argue, but you could say Appalachian State, Texas A&M, but to me, Texas A&M was never even a top 6 team anyways. Overhyped 100%.
Yeah, right. I think A&M is probably a little bit more worse to me just because Notre Dame recruited well this year, but A&M has had multiple years of top recruiting classes, and I just feel like this is really bad. This is on the same level as Michigan losing to them, if not almost worse, because Texas A&M was so highly ranked. It's crazy Appalachian State is still able to do this to this day. But,
Any Saturday,
yeah. Notre Dame they have no quarterback. I figured this would be their downfall. I didn't think it would lead to them losing to teams like Marshall, but just crazy how that lack of quarterback play is absolutely just killing Notre Dame, as they have a pretty well-rounded team on offense and defense besides the quarterback position. So it's crazy that they can't even put up points against Marshall.
Yeah, their quarterback didn't play too good. 2 interceptions, 200 yards. Not much of a rushing game to speak of. He got them 2 rushing touchdowns. So, like I said last week, he's a decent level quarterback, but as far as his throwing ability, there is not really much to speak of there. But overall, we didn't really get to watch a whole lot of the games other than the Texas-Alabama game, just because we did get to Ann Arbor pretty early today, and just wasn't able to watch a whole lot of the other games. But at least we were able to keep tabs on it, and And Wisconsin lost. We have to go through these for sure, though. So Alabama pulled us off a very close game, controversial play that could have been a safety, but I think was called a roughing the passer or something, so that changed things. But to me, Texas lets that game slip away. 3rd and 3, you run the ball. You run the ball there. I don't care. You at least get the 4th and short. You might go for it and take the clock out and get a game-winning field goal. But ultimately, they do get the lead. They leave too much time on the board for Alabama to work with. And Bryce Young does his thing, but Alabama did not look too good today.
No, this was definitely shocking. One of the worst Alabama has looked in quite a while, quite frankly.
Yeah, considering I don't remember what it was, but it was a huge streak of wins against non-conference opponents. That was like 88 in a row or something. Something crazy, which I'm not surprised. So, that was a big one. Samford losing to Georgia 33-0. Nothing really there.
Yeah, typical.
Ohio State, Arkansas State was close at half, but then Ohio State pulled away.
I wonder what this means for Ohio State because, like, on one side, Notre Dame's defense is still good, regardless of how their record is, regardless of how they're playing. That defense is going to be good. Like, I do think that. But for Ohio State's side, like, what does this kind of mean? Like, you know, you kind of struggle against a Notre Dame offense that isn't very good, and then, you know, the defense, who knows? So, what does this mean for them? And then they kind of struggle halfway through this game on their own. So
I would say that their defense is probably not as good as it looked week 1 against Notre Dame, and I had a feeling it's like you could just see it. Some quarterbacks they don't have that passing ability, and they just weren't a passing offense, and that was evident today.
Right.
Against a team in Marshall. 200 yards, 2 picks. That's not going to win you any games.
No, against Marshall, come on, man.
You're one of the biggest schools, one of the biggest ranked teams, and you come out at home like that. Your first home game.
Crazy.
Yikes.
Yikes is right.
Clemson got the win, 35-12. I'm just going over the top 25 matchups.
Oh yeah.
Appalachian State going against Texas A&M, 17-14.
That is a crazy shot.
Looks like it was a tie ball game, 14-14, heading into the 4th quarter.
Wow.
And Michael Hughes kicks a 29-yard field goal to win the game.
Has time expired, or?
It doesn't really show how much clock was left.
Right.
All it shows is it was an 8 minutes and 5 seconds into the 4th quarter. So that must have been about 7 minutes left, roughly.
That's crazy for them to be able to hold on for 7.
Yeah.
7
at
minutes
home.
And not allow.
Texas A&M lost at home.
Oh my! That is even worse. That's the same thing. That's crazy. Wow.
So, after Appalachian State, Texas A&M, Oklahoma won 33-3 against Kent State. Another one, BYU holds on in double overtime against Baylor. That game just ended a few minutes ago.
I wish I would have remembered that. I would have put that on the car.
Yeah.
What a game.
Wow.
Baylor's good. They play tough football, man. It seems like they come out on the losing side of
close
a lot
games.
of really close games. Mm-hmm. I do like what Baylor does, and BYU. I mean, that's a shocker right there. Double OT, but that is definitely a shocker.
A lot of close, good games today. USC pulls off the win against Stanford, 41-28. Wonder if that was... Okay, Stanford got some late time points. Yeah, it was 35-14 heading into the second half. Oklahoma State won 34-17. Kentucky beats Florida 26-16.
That's a good game, and that is, like I told you, pretty sure I picked Kentucky in that one, and
I think you picked Florida. I picked Kentucky.
Really?
I think so. Yeah, maybe, I think so.
Maybe.
Utah absolutely annihilated Southern Utah, 73-7. So that's a rebound for them. Michigan State absolutely killed the Roos, Akron, 52-0. The U, 30-7. Southern Miss. Arkansas, 44-30. Tennessee wins in overtime over Pittsburgh, 34-27.
That's crazy. Pittsburgh struggles losing to, I believe they lost their matchup against West Virginia, or did they win that one?
Pittsburgh won week 1.
Okay.
In a close game.
But still, like, the struggles. They got a good quarterback in, and they're still struggling.
So it's a 28-yard touchdown pass to pull ahead in the overtime, and Pitt could not come back after that.
That's crazy for them to lose a team like Tennessee, who's ranked, which is shocking to me, because Tennessee hasn't been even really anything average for a while. So seeing them ranked again and beating a good team in Pitt, maybe they can make a little noise.
Yeah, they'll definitely slide up. Pitt will fall down.
You're right.
NC State gets the win against Charleston Southern, 55-3. Just cremated them like they should have. Next game, Washington State pulls off the upset, 17-14 over Wisconsin at home.
That is crazy, man. Wisconsin is almost about to be banned from the Big Ten. They are just awful. A lot of the time, just awful.
Holy smokes. Okay, so heading into the second half, Wisconsin was winning 14-7. Wisconsin gets shut down the second half. And Washington State, they didn't score another point. Washington State scores 10 in the third quarter and holds on to win.
How did that running back do for Wisconsin? Did he get bottled up, or
21 carries for 98 yards.
It's not. I mean, for 21 carries, I feel like you'd want a little bit more.
At least 100.
Yeah.
He about got that. I mean, their quarterback, Mertz, gave him 2 tutties, 1 interception.
Okay.
So, Masaminos, but
not a really bad game offensively, but you can't
you can't be shut out at home second half.
You can't only put up 14 and expect to even come close to winning a Division I game, no matter who it is.
Absolutely not. Not at home. All these teams lost at home.
Yeah,
that's the crazy thing.
Right.
Another upset. Central Arkansas lost 3-59 against Ole Miss. That one's not really shocking to me.
Oh, yeah.
Wake Forest went to Vanderbilt and won 45-25. I picked Vandy, but they got slaughtered.
Yeah, I think we both picked Vandy on that one, but yep, they end up getting killed.
Another overtime game. Wow. Number 25 Houston goes to Texas Tech. We both picked Texas Tech, and they did win 33-30. Double overtime.
What a game.
I
knew that game was going to be pretty good, and it definitely lived up to those expectations. I told him like halfway through the Michigan game tonight, I was like, man, we missed a lot of good football coming up here.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it was a great time in Ann Arbor, besides getting rained on for like a solid 45 minutes probably.
It was something like that. It was right before the game. We were just by the stadium, and then here comes the showers.
Oh, yeah. Had a great night watching the game, though. But, yeah, that was a crazy, another double OT game. Wow. People say college football isn't entertaining in the first month.
Yeah, I can... Yeah, I can agree with that. It looks like in overtime, Houston took the lead 30-27. Then Texas Tech got a touchdown to pull ahead, and they won 33-30. Some really exciting games for week 2. Some that definitely overperformed what we anticipated.
Yeah, for sure. A lot of those, those teams that get killed kind of matchups from this week ended up actually being close games and more times than not upsets. Yeah,
wins.
Which
Texas should have won.
Me and Curtis in there just trying not to jinx ourselves in Michigan. Just like, but we're like, too many things has gone wrong today. Like, I think that just how the days went.
If I wasn't drenched in rain, I would have been sweating a little bit. Yeah. I'm not gonna lie.
Just how the day went, I was definitely more nervous about the game than I probably would have been if it was just a normal. If it was a normal week.
Especially when those rainbows came out. That was
wild. And there was a rainbow in the middle of our stadium.
That was too much.
Right before the game. It stopped. It rained, stopped raining. Rainbow in the middle of our field. And then it downpours. And then it stopped raining. And then the whole night's clear. And it was a good night for football. And, yeah.
So Michigan wins the game 56-10.
Let's go. Let's go. Week 2. Let's go. Big win. We'll take that. J.J. balled out. The offense played well with them. I liked how the skill position players worked. Blake Corum had some nice plays. The running backs all played well. I feel like on offense that's probably our best position group, as 3 or 4 of them all came in and made a big impact in this game. J.J. McCarthy, from the jump, just makes an incredible pass. 2 plays into Roman Wilson for a touchdown. And you could just kind of tell he was just locked in, man. And just some of the throws that he made tonight. Like, I'm going to say this, and I want every Michigan fan that's listening to hear me out on this. The booing that happened tonight for Cade McNamara is unacceptable. He is a Big Ten winning quarterback that beat Ohio State. I don't care how much the running backs played into it. He played quarterback. He played arguably the most important position on the field, and he played it well enough to win. And for you guys, especially some of the students that go to school with this guy, for you guys to sit there and boo him, and then give JJ a standing ovation when he's put back into the game that next series, I mean, you're destroying this man, and he doesn't deserve it. These fans are acting like he lost them games or cost them games, and the only game they lost last year, you can't blame that loss on him at all.
That was his best game.
It was his best game. And the Georgia game, well, everybody was bad, so can't say on that either. Week 1, he also looked pretty average, but I thought that he would get it together. But I just think, and I was telling Kurt this, I think that the pressure of the moment and having to fight for his job every week is just getting to him. And you could just see some of the stupid plays he made, like a really bad interception to the sideline.
That interception was awful.
There was no receiver even by the ball. Like,
the receiver was out of bounds.
Just a head scratcher, and I think that's just Cade succumbing to
the pressure
of the situation, and watching JJ go out and sling the ball around and try to come out and match that to try to win this job for yourself.
Which isn't his game.
And it isn't his game. He's a game manager, and he was a good one at it. But I believe JJ is what would take Michigan to the next level. Jaden Davis was in the house, 2024 5-star quarterback. And there was a lot of actually good recruits for Michigan in this game coming to watch. So I think Michigan put on a good showing. I loved what the defense did. Not too much complaints because most of the points were scored with the backups in. Mm-hmm. And I felt tackling was well. I felt we covered pretty decently. Will Johnson gave up another play, but he'll, like I said, he's a tough man-to-man corner. He's gonna give up a play a game probably, but I'll take that if he gets a pick, or 4 deflections, right?
You win some, you lose some,
right? So I think that I like the tackling, especially from the DBs tonight. Mike Sanders still, DJ Turner, Jamon Green also made big plays, and that defensive line. They didn't really get a whole lot of sacks, but they made Hawaii's quarterback uncomfortable. He was uncomfortable the whole night when he
missed some throws for sure.
Yeah, when he finally did throw the ball. He did make a couple nice throws, but mostly they just tried to run the ball. And Michigan's run defense was pretty superb tonight. I liked it. They didn't really give up much on the ground. They got gassed for a couple, but other than that, solid win. And bring on UConn as JJ gets to unanimously begin his era as QB1 for the Michigan Wolverines.
Yeah, let's transition to this. For me tonight, it only took 2 plays. The drive started off with a great run by Corum. Nice play action bomb up the seams, touchdown, Roman Wilson. Right there. That's all we needed to see. And it continued on for the rest of the first half. You could just see it. JJ's the star moving forward. Jim announced it, so that's confirmed. That's awesome to hear. And he really he balled out tonight. 11 for 12, 200-some yards, 3 touchdowns, extending plays. Just It's all there. It was all there to see.
The offense just opened so much more wide open with JJ.
We can push the ball down the field.
You can just see how defenses react to the run because they're so scared of him pulling it and keeping it.
Because
he has some serious speed. And with his arm talent and that serious speed, he really is, man. He could be really incredible for Michigan, man. And I really hope he is.
I'm not going to overreact to 1 week or 2 weeks.
But he definitely.
But I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding when I say this.
The potential is there.
I'm going to say this right now, just so the rest of everybody knows. This happens. We're looking at a potential Heisman winner. I'm not even. You just watch and you can see the plays there potentially.
During his time in Michigan, I would not be surprised if
he can definitely contend for it. If we do the big things we think we can do, and he balls out like this, I don't see a reason why he can't.
Right.
But he made some great throws tonight.
He was a lot smarter. He's been a lot smarter. I've noticed that already. The flaws that you could pick out of his game.
He only had one bad throw tonight. That was behind.
The flaws that you could pick out from his game last year are non-existent this year. And that just shows you how much he's grown, stepped into this role, came in ready to fight for the starting job, and ultimately has already won it. Had it locked up pretty much last week, and he cemented it and slammed the door shut on Cade, and Harbaugh was left with no other choice. Even if he wanted to start Cade, it couldn't have happened. I mean, you
can't
could
defend it.
Which another thing that I noticed that was kind of sad was you see Cade, like when Cade has realized that he is going to be the starter for the rest of this game, everybody piles out of that stadium. I mean, the game's over, but you gotta beat Cade, and you gotta look around, and you're seeing all these people leave as you're getting ready to play, and you're getting booed as you're playing. It's just like, what a disheartening game.
Not
for
cool.
him. That is a terrible way for him to exit the starting.
We needed to support him because he is essentially one play away from starting.
Yeah, and JJ could get hurt tomorrow, and you guys that were booing him would be right back on him. So it's terrible. It's disheartening for him, and I feel terrible for him. He didn't deserve that. He deserved a better way to go out as our starting quarterback, but he didn't get that. And hopefully he stays with the program. And
it's a weird spot being a team captain, not being a starter.
Right.
You
I don't know how
he's
going to react though, because he's got to feel like he's a starter somewhere. So does he sit the backup role this year and look to transfer? Who knows? But I hope he at least takes on the backup role and helps Michigan as much as he can this year.
100%. 100%. It's just with how he played, I mean, the drives, you look at him, I mean, that turnover was not good. His offensive line didn't really protect. Maybe he held on to the ball too long. Maybe it's just a lack of mobility, being a statue.
I feel like it's a little bit of
everything.
Yep.
I mean, I don't think the linemen in there were the starters essentially at that point.
I guess that would make sense, right?
But I mean, the plays are there. You can't defend him. I'm sorry, if he's the starting quarterback from last year, he's got to look better than that. Yeah. And it looks like he regressed.
Yep, he definitely looks like
is unfortunate
to him and regressed, which sucks, man. It does. It does suck to see.
Be better to have two good quarterbacks rather than just one.
Yep. I'd rather that be neck and neck, and then Harbaugh, hopefully make the right decision on who he feels is best. But at this point, we have
the answer is already there.
Yep. Which is good because Harbaugh can't screw it up, but it's bad because Cade definitely seemed like he took a step backwards a little bit. Hopefully this lights a fire under him, though, and he really can show in these next couple out-of-conference games that he can still play and still be a competent backup. Because we're going to need him for sure.
I could see that happening. Injuries, we haven't even started the journey yet. Injuries have yet to hit. It's inevitable, unfortunately. And especially with how JJ plays, I know he's gonna run the read option. At least he ran out of bounds when we did run it, so that was good to see. But sometimes you don't need unnecessary contact. You can just slide. That's cool. We don't want to see that.
Right.
Is that all we're covering for the Michigan game? I feel like we got everything.
Yeah, I think we got it pretty good.
Yeah, overall good showing. Good week 2. not let him hang around. I mean, by halftime, it was already over. I mean, shoot. Who? Was it 42-0 by half?
49? Maybe it was 42.
I think it was 42. Yeah, I want to say it was 42.
Yep.
And then the offense stalled. Good win. Defense looked pretty good. I mean, couldn't really get any pressure, though, because the Y was throwing the ball so quick. Just slants and flats. That's all it was.
Yeah, right. Davis Warren looked good, though. He could, the way he's been playing, he could even contend for that backup role over Cade. The way he looked tonight, he made
a really nice throw into triple coverage. Yep. That tight window was a good throw.
That was a great throw, yeah. I thought that he played really well tonight. So the depth chart could shake up a little bit in weeks coming, but it'll be interesting to see how Cade reacts as a captain and a leader on this team. How do you react when you're a captain and a leader and now you're forced to be in a backup role? It'll be really interesting to see how he comes out of this.
All right. We can transition into UFC 279. Didn't get to watch any of the fights, but the end of Nate versus Ferguson, so can't really comment on how the rest of the fights went, but we do know who won. I'm going to start off with Nate and Ferguson. It sounded like it was pretty entertaining, at least. Nate ends up winning the fight in the 4th round via guillotine choke. Ferguson took him down and just basically gave him his neck. It was pretty cool to see, that's for sure.
Yeah, I'm super happy to see Nate Diaz leave the UFC with his final fight and it being a win on his UFC contract. Hopefully he comes back to the UFC one day, as he is a fan favorite for sure. And but now he apparently wants to go try the sport of boxing.
Yep.
So maybe he'll fight Jake Paul.
That's what everyone's thinking, and that's probably most likely.
Right, because he wants a nice little money grab again. So why not?
That's the move.
Other than that, though, Hazmat Chimaev defeats Kevin Holland. Kevin Holland was talking so much smack about what he would do to him if he came up to 185, and he loses in the first round to submission.
Yeah, with 2 minutes into the first round.
The arch choke. Wow. Yeah, you can't talk crap and then just get absolutely done up like that. That is insane. Rodriguez Lai Jingling. Split decision fight, 29-28, all the way
down to the wire.
Must have been a really good fight. I wish we could have got to see that. Irene Aldana defeats Macy Tyson, 3rd round TKO upkick. Ooh. Nasty. Johnny Walker defeats Ian Kulaba, 1st round submission, rear naked choke.
Yeah, so a lot of finishes except for the Rodriguez fight. All finishes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Nate said pretty much he wants to leave UFC for a minute and just chill. Then he's definitely going to go into boxing, run that for probably a fight, maybe 2. Come back in the UFC and get a title fight. I feel like after he does boxing, he's just going to retire, honestly.
Unless he can get
Why would he need to come back to the UFC?
Unless he can get a fight with Conor. I think he would only come back to fight Conor.
100%.
If Conor had the belt, I could see them making Diaz and Conor one time, like making a title.
I hope. The fans deserve a 3rd one.
That's such a great...
Why they never did a trilogy.
That's such a great storyline. Like, they were incredible. They were, like, I know it's all real, but, like, WWE entertainment type...
You couldn't even write that as a story if you tried.
It was so good. It was so cool to see. The weigh-ins were always nice. The press conferences were crazy. The fights were really good both ways.
Everybody was watching.
Yeah, and
everybody wanted to watch that.
So much attention on the 2 of them. So I hope they do get a trilogy fight. But it'll be interesting to see who Diaz fights, and I would really love to see him just smack around Paul. That'd be great.
Oh, that'd be fantastic.
Yeah.
I don't really hate on the Pauls like that because I get what they're doing, but they need to actually compete against
somebody real.
Like, I mean, I understand.
I did see one of them is fighting Anderson Silva.
Jake Paul is fighting Anderson, but it's like, I mean, Anderson, this isn't Anderson of 10 years ago, but, you know, they're making good money, so good for them, but they haven't really fought nobody. I mean, Tyron, Come on, they paid Tyron to throw that. Come on.
Right.
Come on. Tyron never made any real money in the UFC because he never had any fans. Nobody wanted to watch him.
I agree.
So Nate gets the win. Was awesome to see. Just with how the UFC treated him, he deserves it, and he deserves to go out and do his thing. So awesome to see him win, and just the way everything went down, it worked good. Chimaev missing weight, everything worked out great. So a great Saturday, great games for college football, great UFC. On to another weekend, next weekend.
Yeah.
See what goes down.
Let's go. Good little podcast here. Going to be over an hour. We hope you guys like the length, but if you don't, sound off in the comments. If you would rather have us make shorter episodes, we can definitely do that. But to try to do the 2 episodes a week, we feel like this is the best way to do it as we get our live, raw reactions, as it is now just past 3 o'clock East Coast time.
Yeah.
And
that's why our voices
we're bringing you this raw reaction. We wanted to give you all of it in our live thoughts without sleeping on or anything. And we hope you enjoyed.
Absolutely.
It's always fun. We had a great night in Ann Arbor, and football season is full force ahead now as Michigan officially has their starting quarterback named.
So happy, Jay.
Going forward for week 3 at least.
We've been clamoring for it all off season.
Yep.
We knew it was the move.
And it's nice to see everything work out the way that I would like.
Manifest itself. Yep. And here we are.
But that will do it. Episode 33 made on Ridgeway.
In the books.
Sports Podcast. Like, comment, subscribe. Let us know your thoughts on week 2 and all these crazy college games.
Yeah.
Your week 3 predictions. Some pick 'em. Let us know, guys. We want to interact. We want to make this
expand.
Feel like a community and, feel like a family. As we're all just talking about sports at the end of the day. We're all going to have different opinions and different teams, but we all just love sports at the end of the day. That's what's so good about it. That's what makes, football and just sports in general so great, because it brings so many people together. And that's what I love about it most.
Mm-hmm.
So,
100%.
From Made on Ridgeway Sports Podcast, episode 33, Hunter Keister.
K-Mac.
Let's go. Go blue, baby.
Let's go.
Peace.